This is an NBC News special report. Here's Lester Holt.
Good day, everyone. We're coming on the air with breaking news about a deadly school shooting in Winder, Georgia. That's about an hour northeast of Atlanta. The early reports were that around 10:20 this morning, law enforcement were summoned to the school on word of an active shooting. What we can tell you right now is that 2 people are confirmed dead, at least 2 people, at least 4 people have been injured. We want to go right now to Morgan Chesky, who's been monitoring the scene there. Morgan, what more can you tell us?
Yeah, Lester, that information is still preliminary, but it is confirmed as of this hour as a result of this school shooting that, as you say, was first reported around 10:23 local time at Appalachia High School. That is in the small community of Winder, Georgia, about 50 miles northeast of Atlanta. This video is from our affiliate in Georgia, and you can see a massive law enforcement presence in and around that high school. The entrances and exits, you can see multiple officers located, and there hundreds of students have been directed to that football field where the district is saying they will be reunited with their parents soon. We are still awaiting an official update from authorities there on the scene. We do know, according to the FBI, that their Atlanta office is aware of this current situation. Agents are on scene coordinating with and supporting local law enforcement. Our affiliate there reported at least 1 medical helicopter taking someone away from that scene. Of that number impacted that you mentioned, Lester, 2 confirmed fatalities, 4 confirmed injured. I think it's very important to stress that the gunman is in custody at this time. We do not know if they are one of those who are wounded or the weapon that was used. We're only hearing reports that gunfire took place inside this high school around 10:23 local time. Incredibly dynamic situation there. As you can see, the students waiting to be reunited with parents. We know emotions are running high. That is why we're seeing such a significant presence of law enforcement to try to make this as orderly as possible. But unfortunately, this again is preliminary information. We do anticipate hearing significant updates from authorities within the next hour or so. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, within the last few minutes, Lester, has directed all necessary state resources to assist in any way possible at this scene. And we are seeing the students walking from the school to that football field. We can only imagine the chaos that was taking place around 10:23 local time when the reports of that gunfire initially came in. Lester, this is a community of only about 19,000 people in Winder, Georgia, and at last check, the enrollment of this high school is 1,800. There are no strangers at this school. People know everyone there, and I think that is only contributing to the uncertainty and the frustration as we await for more official updates from authorities that we again do anticipate within the next few minutes here.
Yeah, they are barely a month into the fall school session there. Morgan Chesky, thanks. Let me quickly bring in Cedric Alexander, former public safety director for DeKalb County, Georgia, and an NBC News senior law enforcement analyst. Cedric, let me just ask you very quickly, is there a school?
Yeah, that's crazy. Number one, I give my respects, man, for those who lost their lives today. This was early in Georgia. I lived not too far from here. You know, I just moved recently, but I used to live not too far from here. I was 2 exits away from this situation here. Now, RIP, man. RIP to the children. This happened around like 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. They reported this. And at that time, it was 2 dead. Now they're saying there's 4 people dead. 2 teachers, 2 students. Not only 2 teachers, 2 students, but they said the number of people that was injured is around 10 people. 10 to 12 people. That was the latest update. RIP, man. RIP. Another school shooting. This is crazy. My thing is, how did the mayor or the governor, the president even responded with 6 different counties of local law enforcement responding for this school shooting? that fast when it just happened that morning? Was this a planned attack? Is this part of agenda? Is this part of the Democratic agenda, mind you, because they want to execute stronger gun laws? How did they respond that fast when it just happened 10 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock this morning? And all of these major political figures responded that quick with 6 counties already there by 10 o'clock, a half hour later? Was this a planned political agenda to execute more gun laws in this country? Because that's suspicious. Because we know if we go to Chicago, I don't want to make this a race war, but we went to Chicago, my man Bloodhound Jeff, who just executed 2 people before he just died recently, a couple of months ago now, in front of a school, by the train station, in front of everybody, and police didn't respond that fast. And then they get this type of attention. And they get this type of media attention. The president never responded. What happened with those 2 high school students who were murdered by Bloodhound Jeff and his friends in Chicago? So, that right there is suspicious to me. Does Black Lives really matter? That's a question that we all need to really stress. Because the Democrats right now, and I don't want to make this a political thing because it's not a political agenda while I'm on this topic, but it just raised some type of suspicion on certain moves when it comes down to election. They try to cause hysteria. School mass shootings or some type of terroristic attack. Here we got the migrants coming in the country. All these different things for some sort of agenda around election time. Cause some sort of hysteria, some sort of murder around election time. It's the same old story. How come the kids in Chicago don't get that much light like the children in suburban Georgia? How come come on, Chicago, they get mass shootings all the time. You hear it on the news. You hardly hear it on the news no more. Every weekend, every Labor Day, every 4th of July, or whatever scenario may be, it be 60, 50, 40 children murdered. But they don't get that much light like they do with suburban Georgia. That's my reason of suspicion. Is this a political front using this hysteria for some sort of law to be executed, for some sort of election to be, for whatever nomination that you represent, for them to run in office for them? It's the same old tricks. I didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole, because that's neither here nor there. R.I.P. to the families. And I'm being very sensitive because I have children around that age. And they don't live that far from there. The school wasn't that far from there. So that could have happened to me today. And I would not have that type of mentality. I would have been boo-hooing just as much as them. And I want revenge, just like everybody else, parents and everybody else in that community want revenge of what just happened, what just took place. You know? Imagine you taking your children to school, trusting the system that they're going to secure and protect your child for the amount of hours that they're there, just to be let down and find out by a crazy phone call from the school or the detectives or whoever that your child was just murdered. How would you feel in that situation? I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Because I have children the same age as this murderer. I got to go down a certain rabbit hole with that. But I do have sympathy on that situation. Because I don't wish that on nobody. This is a hard time in America, period. And my frustration and my anger is not really toward the child. I'm going to go toward the system, the school system itself. Why my frustration is going to the system? Did it respond accordingly? Yes, they did. Was all the sheriff's departments and different agencies react in time? Yes, they did. I'm so happy that they spared this little boy's life and they didn't execute him right there, because he doesn't really understand the depth of the consequences he just did. He doesn't know in full detail the deeds he just brought upon himself, because mentally, according to statistics, your brain is not developed till you're after 26. The boy is 14. He's a juvenile. He's a little child. Why blame the system? Well, let's go in detail like this. How many past school shootings have we had over the years, from Sandy Hook, Columbine, and everywhere else? Over and over and over again. It's a sequence. And still, suburban Georgia doesn't have any metal detectors in their school. They're so sleep and comfortable in their own world and mentality, they feel that it won't happen to them, that they're exempt to society. They so brainwashed what goes on in the news, like it's just entertainment to them until reality hits and strikes them at their front porch. You had so many previous examples. You've seen so many examples with murder, from gang violence on down, terrorism to hate crimes on down, and you still don't have metal detectors? You still want to trust in a police department to take how many minutes to hours to get to that location, to find out wherever that kid is at, to then execute justice? Come on. I blame the school system. There should be a lawsuit on the school system because they should have had metal detectors. I'm from New York City. We've been had metal detectors since the beginning of the time. Our movie theaters have metal detectors since the beginning of the time. There's no excuse. There's no excuse why you see a repetition of repeated offenses over and over and over and over again in suburban areas. You overlook the urban areas and the high crime areas, fine. But if you want to protect your little Sally, Sue, Joey, whoever, you should have been had metal detectors. All the money you promote, you sponsor the school with and give the school with and donate for whatever football organization, whatever scholarship or academic programs you have, you couldn't invest some of that money into security to protect your children? You're away from your child how many hours out of the day? 8 to 12 hours out of the day. You don't know who they are amongst 24/7 in that facility. How many school safety or security or police or peace officers you have in your school? And how much do they really care about your children while they're patrolling your school, if they're patrolling your school? This could have been prevented. There should have been a major lawsuit with this. All the money and all the tax dollars that y'all paid and you still had no security in your school, this could have been prevented. Your system dropped the ball. The system dropped the ball. This is something to think about. There's no excuse why you had 4 deaths, 2 teachers and 2 students, and 10 or 12 injured now, as far as this moment of time, injured, off of this little one individual. One individual. Where's the truancy cops? Where's your metal detectors? How come nobody looked into the psychology of this child, from guidance counselor? Did anyone ever talk to the parents of this child? How come we know nothing about this child? We knew other people, Dylan Roof and whoever, who killed people in the church. We knew his psychology of him. We knew the background of him. We knew about the other child who tried to assassinate Donald Trump. How come we don't know nothing about this child now? I understand, yes, it's fresh news. I get it. But if the president was already alerted, and he said something, if the governor of Georgia said something and was alerted, if 6 counties was alerted within a half hour, come on. How come y'all couldn't alert them and finding out the background history and the psychology of this child? Was this child being bullied? Because he's only 14. Was he being bullied? What made him this mad and this angry that he made him want to crash out? What's going on in the history of this background? His family history. Did he have parents that were involved as far as his academics and his behavior in school? According to the guidance counselor, how's his behavior? How was his attendance? How was his grades? That all affects the psychology of what made him want to crash out. Was he being bullied? We got so many cybersecurity out here guarding and watching our social media 24/7, from Google to Instagram to Facebook to TikTok to Spot, everything. Snapchat to whatever. Y'all can catch pedophiles when y'all want. How come y'all never alerted Child Protective Services to find out the psychology of this child? Was he failing in school? That's one red flag there, if he was failing. Did he have a history of lashing out in school? Was he an introvert? Keep things internal. Antisocial. Don't want to be bothered with nobody. Was he being bullied? Was he being picked on? What made him want to crash out now in the beginning of the school year? It's just the beginning of September. School just started in Georgia, not even, a month ago? They just started school. Was he being picked on? Was a gang trying to pick on him? Is this some type of vengeance? Because he felt the teachers didn't have his back, didn't put their foot down if he was being harassed in school. Didn't discipline properly his oppressors, those bullies. Was it cyberbullying? Is something internal going on at home? Was he being abused at home? Was he neglected at home? Was he being overlooked at home? Did he have both parents in his life that were active in his life? Were they involved in the parent-teacher conferences in the school board? I know it's early in the school year, but these are the red flags because the child is 14. Did he have a history of acting out in school when he was 13? When he was 12? When he was in the 8th grade? When he was in the 7th grade, 6th grade? What's going on? They're not giving us any information because they didn't look that deep. I want to look at the psychology of this child because this child, his mind is not developed. And I blame not only the school system, but I blame the system itself. I blame social media, whatever he was looking at his pages, if he's the only child or if he's neglected at home, if he didn't have no good positive family structure in his life, and the parent just left him to his cell phone and the video games to babysit him, that will brainwash a child to think erratic thoughts like this. That will brainwash your child. Just because the child communicate with you, with smile at you, you don't really get to the deeper root and find out his inner shell to see what's going on with him. You got a problem. Because kids that smile every day and joke around, they don't want to be, they commit suicide. Rich people commit suicide. What's going on psychologically? That's what I'm trying to figure out. What made him that mad that he want to crash out in school? School is supposed to be a safe haven for him. It used to be a haven for kids. If they ain't had no food at home in impoverished neighborhoods, at least they could trust the school to give them lunch. They could get some sort of nourishment if they ain't have no food at home. School was an outlet for kids who couldn't go outside. They had their friends there. They had the attention there. That was a haven sometimes for people in school. But at the same time, there was dangers in school. Because depending on the environment in school, whether you're in suburbia or you're in urban neighborhoods, you still got gang affiliations and you got bullies. And you got teachers that harass and make you feel like you're not special or unimportant or point you out to make you feel stupid in school. If that child is overlooked and don't have that positive background at home, all that stuff builds internally where he feels less valued, less important. Doesn't matter. And what he is being fed through social media and media, through movies, all these Marvel superheroes, all they teach is what? Death, kill, and destroy. You look at rap music, drill music, death, kill, and destroy. And that's what's popular. That's what's popping amongst the youth in that age bracket. Death, kill, and destroy. That's what's feeding them 24/7. You don't know. The best way to learn your child is to get involved in the music they're listening to. Find out what artists. If you can find out the artists, their favorite artists, listen to the music. Find out their interests. That's how you know who your child is, because their influences are those, whoever is on his playlist. Whether it's a rapper, singer, pop artist, whatever it may be, whatever sparked their interest that enough was downloaded in their playlist, that is going to be their identity. So if it's drill music, through whatever these rappers are who are sponsored by these big time billionaires with these companies, like such as Empire or whatever producing company, Death Row, whatever it may be, that's teaching a child to kill, steal, rape, and destroy. If that's what's on his playlist, that's the identity of your child, because they're being molded by that because they're young. They're finding themselves. They're trying to learn themselves. Parents need to get involved in finding out the music these kids listen to. Look at the video games they play. Are they into imagination like Super Mario or whatever? Or are they into Black Ops and all that stuff, like Call of Duty and all that stuff? What are they watching? What are they playing? Is it Death, Kill, or Destroy? Because this is what's shaping and molding your child mentality. When you go to school, look at the neighborhoods they live in. Analyze who they around on their Facebook page. See their friends. Where they from? Are they from certain neighborhoods and they showing up with gang attire or throwing up signs and saying vulgar things? That's how you figure out your child, see their interests are. Are they being recruited in gang life or what? And if they are, you need to, as a parent, if you love your child, you need to act on it. If your child's in the hood, get them out the hood. You know it's the trap. You know you're a single parent. Try to find those who's like-minded as you, who are willing to help you and assist you and your child to get them out of those neighborhoods to save your child's life. Save your child's life. If it hits suburbia, you need to analyze what's going on and get some sort of counseling, get the juvenile detention facilities involved, get some programs involved before they go to jail and destruct them and self-destruct. That's a fact. Parents drop the ball. The system dropped the ball. It's an agenda out here that nobody's really plaguing on. Okay, you send your child to jail. They want to charge this child as an adult. He's 14. His mind, again, is not developed as an adult. He's a youth. He's a juvenile. Find out the psychology of this child. His mind is not mentally developed yet. How you gonna charge him as an adult when he's not even, he can't even feed himself? He's dependent on that. He don't know how to feed himself because he's dependent on that. He don't know how to get a job. He can't even work. He's not even old enough to work to get a job to provide for himself. So how you going to charge this child as an adult when he's not even mentally capable for him to survive on his own? Common sense. Get into the psychology, and it should be this across the board, whether you're in suburbia or the hood. Because the influence in the hood is worse than suburbia. Because you got people 24/7 all around them. All types of influences. Kids are subjected to peer pressure or forced to survive and do certain things because they're indoctrinated and what they're being harassed with, and just to get home for peace of mind, what they got to go through, that people are not challenging. I feel for this child. We need to pray for our children all across the board. I pray for mercy for this child. That him and people just like him will get the proper counseling. The proper counseling. Another chance at life. But they really want to correct themselves, because jail, prison, isn't the answer. You're just there as another number to make these big major companies more richer. With your sweat, your blood, sweat, and tears, or for hard labor. Tax write-off. You're not correcting anything. It used to be a term called corrections officer. You're not correcting anything. They got prison guards now. They're not trying to rehabilitate anybody psychologically. You're just a number. You are there to be brainwashed, indoctrinated, like this young child was, through the video games, the drill music, and the movies, for you to self-destruct. So you could be a slave to make these major lobbyists and corporations and private prisons rich off the sweat of your brow. And you still got to pay for your room and board in prison. They're not rehabilitating. They're not correcting anything in there. Parents, we need to step up and find out what's going on with our children and save our children. Who are they socializing with on social media, and who they hanging around with? And if they have to get the police or whoever involved, whatever, to make sure to make them know that you ain't playing when you execute certain laws in your own house, that's what you may have to do. I feel for this child. I feel for this child. I hope he wasn't used as an agenda, a political agenda. But the system failed him. The school system failed him. The parents failed him. We need to intercede for our children before it's too late. I trust God that He'll intervene for this child. And I trust God for His mercy and His grace over the victims. And I hope that society would do better in our schools and start patrolling, protecting our children as they sworn in to do. Because this could have been prevented. Easy.